What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Investing Bros. Oh, wait. I got a haircut, and it's the greatest feeling in the world. Oh, my goodness, guys. How about this? Some of you didn't even know I had hair. I do have hair. It just got way too long, and it was crazy, but we had an amazing barber yesterday. But that's not what the show's about. I just thought I'd do a grand reveal for all of you guys who did not see it in our bro time yesterday. We got a lot to talk about today, namely, as the title suggests, and this was a little bit of a stretch for us because we never really talk about Dogecoin. So we'll see if the fans love it. We'll see if you guys love it. We'll see if this brings in more people. But there was some interesting news from Elon Musk. And the question we're going to dive into today is, did he, in a roundabout way, confirm that Dogecoin will be the currency he chooses to use for X.com? Let me know what you think in the comments. We're going to discuss this later on in the show. The other big story is the Binance FUD is continuing, but this time it's coming into the Bitcoin world. CZ and Binance are being accused of selling off their Bitcoin, manipulating Bitcoin price to try to prop up the BNB token. We've heard him in the past say he doesn't care about the price, but a lot of people are coming at him, accusing him of attempting to manipulate Bitcoin price. We're going to dive into that and a whole lot more, but make sure you guys first smash that like button if you enjoy the Investing Bros, if you love being here every single morning. We got the TA, we got the news, we got some fun stuff. And this is the perfect channel for you. If you are new here, thank you so much for choosing us this morning. Please consider hitting that subscribe button as we're quickly growing here. We're trying to get to 5,000 within the next 2 months, but we do need your help. So smash subscribe. It's absolutely free. Doesn't cost you anything. I'm joined this morning by my co-host for the last day this week because he's leaving me on a grand vacation, Mr. T-Shroom from down in Florida. T-Shroom, how you doing today?
Better than I deserve, Tim. Truly. Definitely blessed by God today. And I've got a quote here. In lieu of Jackson Hole, it's going to get very sophisticated. Okay. Everybody's going to button up their shirts and they're going to say, okay, Jackson Hole. What do they have to say? But don't forget, guys, we've got a movie quote from one of the most wise movies of all time where Will Smith says, oh, it's covered up, that you sit on a throne of lies. And that is my quote of the day for Jerome Powell coming up on the Jackson Hole.
You think he's going to come out and sit on a throne of lies, T-Shroom?
No, he already is.
Oh, true.
Yeah,
true. Okay, maybe. I'm thinking that's more of a Gary Gensler type of thing. Maybe some more politicians. But interesting quote. I do love it. I do enjoy the movie Elf. It is a classic, even though it's not. Is it old enough to be a classic? How old is it now? What year was Elf created?
I don't know, but I love that movie because it finally showed that you can eat gum that's just on rails and stuff from under tables.
Free candy in New York City.
I've been doing that all my life, and finally I've been validated.
Yes, you are in good company. Well, guys, we're going to jump in here. We're going to get into some of our content, but you guys know we have to do our engagement with the community. We got to read some names, but I do want everyone to go vote on our poll. We got 39 votes, got 43 of you guys in here. Maybe people just aren't liking Doge, T-Shirt. I don't know, but should we all hold Doge in our portfolio? And I guess that could be confusing wording. Maybe just put yes if you want to hold Doge or plan on holding Doge, but no if not. Right now it's pretty close. 52% saying yes, 47% saying no. It just shifted 51-49. But let me know what you guys think. Our first commenter of the day, and I do believe he picked up all first 3 slots, is Mr. Ninja Glock. So congratulations, Ninja Glock, for coming in first here this morning. Right behind Ninja Glock was Mr. J with that green name, and also Crypto Mini Bike. Love seeing you guys here. A Mellow Fellow is here this morning as well. Eric Wallen is here. It's a me, a Crypto Mario is here. Troy King, Mike Play, Bedridden with the Blue Wrench, Nancy Croy, let's see, Katzman is here. Curtis Rorick, Gia S, Brakoshi, No Dinero. Who else do we have? Ada Ace is here. Let's see. Got to scroll, find some new names. Got a lot of chatter going on, but I love it. Bob is here this morning. Peter Provost is here. Who else do we have? Remington Peralt, Mr. Hart Teaches, and he says XRP. Is that what he teaches? Does Mr. Hart teach XRP? That would be very interesting. Let's see who else is here. Let's get like 5 more names, and we're going to get into our content this morning. Sativio Shimoto is here. Mike Vollmer is here. That's 2. Philly Skills 1428. Stephen E. Shrum. And the final name that I am going to read is King.D. Welcome, everybody. I know there are some other names here in chat, so if I did not read your name, it is not because I don't love you. It is simply time to go ahead and get on into our content. Let's starting off with our economic data this morning, guys. Coming over here, it is Wednesday, August 23rd. What's happening today? We should be getting, or we did get mortgage rates. Oh, they came in higher, 7.31%. We need those to go down. Listen, I want to buy a house at some point in the next couple of years. So please, let's get that number down. New home sales will be coming out later today here. Jackson Hole Symposium is happening today. No time, though. Of course, T. Shroom alluded to that. That should be happening on Friday. That is what, on Friday, when we hear from Jerome Powell, that's what we're hearing from him. I guess the symposium, I guess it's starting today. But we hear from Fed Jerome Powell on Friday. Tomorrow, we will also get durable goods month over month. So keep your eye on that. We'll also be looking at initial jobless claims. That's another big factor. More than likely, we're going to hear Jerome Powell say something about it. Crypto Trades just says you don't love me, Tim. Okay. You know I love you, Crypto Trades. It's Crypto Sec guy that I'm not sure about.
Ooh, got him.
Anyway, we're going to keep moving on here into next week. Let's see. JOLTS job openings will be coming out on Tuesday. Dallas Fed Manufacturing Index on Monday. Anything else kind of coming off? China supposedly has something really big. The NBS Manufacturing PMI. Let me be honest with you guys, not that educated on what that is, but it is telling me that it's very important. And then Thursday, we'll be getting some core PCE. Once again, month over month here in the U.S. Personal income, personal spending as well. So going to be a big week. Non-farm payrolls on Friday, unemployment rate on Friday, ISM manufacturing PMI on Friday as well. So big week next week for economic data. Let's take a look over here at liquidations. Let's refresh our page. Let's go out to 24 hours and you will see Ethereum leading the line.
Oh,
wow. 29 million longs were liquidated compared to only 7.29 million shorts. So red day for Ethereum. Same for Bitcoin. Now we're going to get into Bitcoin TA here in just a second. It almost did what I told you guys it was going to do. And we're going to talk more about that. I have a sneaky suspicion that Bitcoin might be revisiting. It did not get as low as it really should have. I think we might be going down again, but we're going to talk about that in the TA portion. Bitcoin down, had almost 21 million longs liquidated, long dollars liquidated, versus $10 million worth of shorts liquidated. Then you move it over here, we get into others. So that's pretty much just a smorgasbord. Solana, should be in the red today. Litecoin, BNB. BNB, of course, we're going to be talking about some BNB today. Might even do some BNB TA during that conversation section. Maybe not as much during the TA section because there's only so much we can do. Let's keep moving on here, though, so we do get into that good TA. We are ticking up still here on Trueflation, everybody. We are up this morning to 2.72. We did get a small pause over the last 2 days at 2.69, but we are back to the upside. This is not what you want to see with Jerome Powell speaking to us here on Friday. So the good news is he doesn't look at Trueflation. He looks at whatever numbers they want to look at.
I'm sure he does.
But us here in Investing Bros, we take a look at Trueflation every single day, and it's moving the wrong direction, guys. Not what we want to see here. Let's go look at our Fed tool. So here's the thing, guys. We want to see this number get bigger and bigger and bigger. The smaller it gets, the more pressure and the more people are voting that there might be another rate hike happening here in September. We still have 28 days until this FOMC meeting, so a lot can change. I'm not expecting it to change. I do think we're going to see a pause. I do think there's a good chance that we will not raise rates anymore. But the question becomes, when do we start to pause? And what I'm starting to keep my eyes on, we talked about this a little bit yesterday, but November, it's still predicting a pause, but that's the one that kind of scares you a little bit, saying, oh no, are they thinking maybe to raise rates in November? But then you start to move over towards May. We are still predicting the first rate cut to happen in May, but it's very slim margins. They're still considering in May. It looks like they may want to pause. June, it looks like they're saying they're going to stay paused right there at the 5 to 5.25. So maybe it's like if they don't end up cutting rates in May, they do it in June. If they cut rates in May, they'll just do one and pause and see how it goes. So still a lot of uncertainty right now when it comes to rate hikes. So we're going to have to kind of continue to follow that as it comes out. Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index staying at 37 today. Again, in the fear, that's a good sign, everybody. You guys know that I've been tracking this. I didn't like what we saw before. I thought it was more bearish, the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index. Sure enough, we got a good plunge back down to 25.2. Now that we're at 37, I'm liking it. I actually see this as more of a bullish sign for the markets. Doesn't mean the bleeding is over long term. It just means short term. I like what we're sitting at right now. Let's take a look at our coin market cap open of the day. Let me refresh, make sure we're good here. Let's take a look at the top 10. So Ethereum clearly down farther than Bitcoin. This is expected. I didn't do this TA on Investing Bros yesterday, but I did it on the BitBoy channel. We looked at Ethereum over Bitcoin, and we did see that we had hit a resistance level on the Ethereum over Bitcoin chart that more than likely Ethereum was going to start bleeding to Bitcoin. Maybe we'll take a look at that as well. Eric Wallen says, I love the fear, Tim. Love it. Good, Eric. You're coming to the dark side, I guess. All right, let's keep moving on here. Anyone else big? BNB up 1.86. You're going to see some people say that's the evidence for the manipulation of price. I'm not going to give my opinion on that just yet. I'm going to save that one for our conversation later on in the show. But BNB looking like one of the only, if not the only, Tron's up too, but one of the very few green coins today here, last 24 hours. Solana down 2%. Now, Dogecoin's hovering around zero. It's red right now, but only down 0.18%. Going to be very interesting to see what happens with Dogecoin over the rest of the day with the news and what Elon has said about it most recently. Shiba Inu's up 2%. Toncoin's up 2.3%. Polygon up 1.7%, 1.3%, excuse me. Nothing else here, though, in the top 20 is really that big of a mover. Let's take a look at those big movers. Ashtar, all right. Never traded it. Probably never going to trade it. But it is up 8% today. DYDX is up 3.76 today. Near Protocol up 3.58. Sui up 3.46. Woo. Okay, woo. Injective is up here. Not a lot, guys. There's not a lot up, and nothing's really that significant other than Aster, 8%. That's a pretty decent day. 8% solid day's work in the crypto community. Let's look at the biggest losers. Maker is down 8%. Immutable is down 5%. HBAR down 5%. Of course, now it kind of makes sense. HBAR, while everything else is going to the downside, HBAR going upside, makes sense that it has a little bit of a break. Thor chain is down 5%. Yeah. Nothing necessarily too crazy here, but 8% up, 8% downs for crypto. Not too volatile of a day, but enough to give some people some money and take it away from other people. Guys, it is time to go ahead and jump on into our technical analysis. But before I do that, let's go to Brocam real quick, T-Shirt. I want to make sure before I jump in here, and I'm going to try to still pay attention to chat and look at questions and look at when people are saying things. But anything you want to say before we dive into this intense TA this morning?
Yes. Tim.
Yeah.
I want to know if you knew this interesting crypto factoid, and maybe our audience would like to play along. Here's the kind of the factoid that I want to know if you know the answer to, which is which cryptographic algorithm does Bitcoin employ to create addresses and ensure the security of funds? Tim, we're not going to answer this question right now. We're going to answer it at the end of the technical analysis. So why don't we go ahead and slip right on into that?
Well, we do see Dylan Martinez says, when talking about liquidations, can you guys add in the percentage of liquidations compared to circulating supply and market cap? I'll look into it, Dylan. That's an interesting concept, an interesting question. Let me look into it, and we'll get back with you. But we're going to jump into technical analysis today, guys. I'm down here all the way on the hourly chart this morning, but make sure you guys join me in T-Shroom in thanking our two sponsors for these segments. This would be BitGet and Chart Prime. BitGet, of course, here in the United States is coming to an end, at least temporarily, with KYCs, but all of our non-American friends can still use BitGet. And again, we're going to be looking for other exchanges as well, but we do want to thank BitGet for being a sponsor here. Also, Chart Prime, the best indicator out there, guys. You got to have it. You want to have it. If you don't have it, what's wrong? Just go here. Look, you guys are going to see, I'm watching my own show. Here, go to YouTube. If you scroll and you click more right here,
Oh,
and
wow.
you come down. Look at this amazing link
Oh,
with
wow.
45% discount off the first month or quarter of purchase. That's a steal. You got to go do it. Make some gains. You will earn every dollar back that you spend on Chart Prime plus a lot more. Go get that link down below. Let's go ahead and look at Bitcoin this morning, guys, here on the hourly chart. Now, it did what we talked about yesterday. Remember when I talked about the 3 scenarios and the one I thought was most likely? I thought we were going to break to the downside, but instead of actually playing out, if I were to go to the 4-hour chart, instead of playing out like a bear pennant and actually creating the whole fiasco of falling below 25.2 and going down towards 22.5, I said we were going to bounce on that green line 25.2, but we didn't quite get there, at least not on Coinbase. Let me actually check some other ones here, but it's looking like the low we had on Coinbase was 25,350. What is the index saying we got down to? The index is saying we got down to 25,361. So different exchanges are going to give you different prices, but the main point here is that we didn't come down all the way to the same place where we wicked just a couple of days ago. This leads me to believe, ladies and gentlemen, that there's a chance that we just move to the upside, but I think we're going to come down again, especially when we talk about what we've been discussing here recently when it comes to volume and how to read volume and when the bottom comes in. Let's take a look here. This actually was discussed in chat, and I'll make sure, or discussed in our Discord, excuse me, and I want to make sure people understand the teaching here. So high volume bottoms. What that is indicating to me, the volume is the transaction of people buying or selling. So when I saw this high volume, that did say to me, all right, reversal is coming because a lot of people are buying clearly. The problem is there's so much buying happening down here that more than likely this will not be the last time we touch this price. So, of course, the price shoots back up. We trade sideways, and I'm saying, hey, we need to look for a low volume bottom. Now, we didn't get quite as low, so that's the first thing that I'm not loving about how low we came here. But to be fair, we did get some low volume here. So some people might be wondering, hey, is this that low volume bottom that Tim was discussing? Here's the reason why I believe the answer is no. Now, we could change this today, but you don't just say, oh, because you hit a low price and the volume was low, that must be the bottom and we're going to the upside. What you're looking for is the confirmation. Now, what is the confirmation? That is when price starts to move back to the upside, the green volume starts to grow as well, and you get high volume with the confirmation of the bounce. Let's go take a look at this. For example, I think that I would classify this as a low volume bottom, right? Not a lot of volume that came in, but notice when we do get a spike in volume, where did that come in? Right here. Well, what does this histogram correspond to? It corresponds to the climbing of price. That is confirmation that this low volume bottom was in fact a good bottom, and you should be taking and entering a trade to go to the upside. What I'm seeing right here is not necessarily an overwhelming confirmation of a low volume bottom. What I'm seeing is while we went low and we didn't have a big spike in volume, the same that we had the other day, I'm not seeing overwhelming confirmation of move to the upside. I'm not seeing volume come in to confirm that we should be moving to the upside, that the bulls are in full control. And I do think that this wick was a little weak and it didn't go low enough. I think we're actually going to touch this green line. I think 25.2 area is going to be touched. What was my prediction I made? I think my low here is 20. No, is that the right one? What did I say? 25,280. I said 25,280 is my exact level I'm going for. I could be wrong. I'm not saying I have to be right, but I do think that we're going to see at least the same touch as the wick we had back here on the 17th. So I want you guys to keep your eyes on that. Let's take a look, though, at some oscillators. Take a look at what's going on. We did get some good bullish divergence at that level. We got a green reversal. But notice on the 4-hour chart, we did not get our MVP oscillator saying that it was time to buy. That's a sign that to me is saying, hey, hold your horses. Don't necessarily go all in just yet. Now, the RSI is climbing here, but what we could be seeing happen is some classic bullish divergence where the price continues to fall to the downside. We might even get some candle body closes down here towards 25.2. And then we get our low volume spring that moves us to the upside. All the while, the RSI does not get as low, and it ends up creating for us a very good bullish divergence where the price bottoms are getting lower, the RSI bottoms are getting higher. Good reversal bullish divergence. Again, that's hard to predict with perfection, but it is the markets are looking like that's what it wants to happen. So I'm definitely keeping my eyes out for that here on Bitcoin. You guys know that my personal opinion, as I said it yesterday, was that we were going to fall. We're going to come down here, touch 25.2, and then I do believe we're going to see what I would call a good shakeout, fake out rally back up to this blue line somewhere between 28,300, 400 and 28,600. I think it's going to be hard to get back above the horizontal T-box levels here at 28,600. I think price will be back up in this yellow box, but it'll also be hard to get back above. And this is a very classic technical analysis thing, a former support level. It's time to turn it into resistance. And what you're going to see is a good fake out to take some money from the average retail investor that is just a sucker for price action, and then the price is dipping back down, and then we're talking about a $19,500, $19,700 level. By the way, let's go take a look at even that. We talked about this a little bit yesterday during our bro time, so a lot of you guys got this fresh education, but take a look here when we're looking at the fixed range volume profile. Something we mentioned, and that's very important, is peaks are important, people. They are very important, but what's not taught that well, however, the back testing analysis of this is overwhelming, that sometimes the greatest support and resistance levels are not the peaks, but actually the valleys. Well, guess where we have a valley sitting right here, right there, about 25,000, 200 or so is where that valley is. Well, guess what? When we come down here, we have a peak at 23,000. Don't be surprised for us to hesitate at that level, but where's the next big valley? 22,000. And then, of course, we have our next peak down here, 20,000, and our next valley at what level? 19.7, give or take. So watch as Bitcoin price begins to fall again, because I do believe it will over the next couple of months. Watch all of these valley points and peak points to be temporary levels of significant support and resistance. That's what you guys need to know right now. Let's go ahead and take this down. Let's take a look at Dogecoin this morning. Not that it's necessarily moving too much one way or the other, but we did have some big news. So it's definitely something we're going to want to keep our eyes on. Now, Dogecoin has been traveling here a little bit in a falling trading channel. You could maybe even make a case for it, with the exception of the fake out rally right here. You could potentially even make a case for a very hard to read, but falling wedge pattern where technically we are constricting here just a little bit. Now, while we are bouncing slightly today, is that due to Elon? Is that just due to people trading? I'm going to go ahead and say it probably has a lot to do with Elon. There's a small chance that we still see a move to the downside. Let's see what the oscillator is saying. We did get a nice oversold flash here, just like everything else. We're getting that green reversal. We did have some green histograms come in here on the MVP oscillator, as well as super low RSI. Let's take a look at our indicators here. I really want to see where we have some multi-time frame support and resistance. We did not quite make it all the way down to this number 3 for the daily, but we did get close. So that's an interesting level. If we move to the downside, keep your eyes around 5.4 cents, where we do have some key support. Above us, we have some, I think this would be my 12-hour strong resistance here. I do got to go to the 4-hour. Let's go to the 4-hour real quick, because I got to see where my 4-hour is as well. Yeah, I've got a lot of resistance sitting right above us here on Dogecoin. So it could be a hard little option to come to the upside, but we do have a very, very high order block sitting right here, all the way up towards 6.6 cents. So this rally we're currently kind of working on creating with Elon Musk, very interesting to watch that level before we see resistance. You're also going to see the 12-hour strong resistance right there at 6.6 cents. So more than likely, I would say that's a pretty strong magnet that in the next little bit, we probably will move up in that direction. But the thing with Dogecoin is, if Elon does come out continuing to praise it, if we do see more signs that it could become the official currency of Twitter, now called X, man, watch out. It could explode. And when you're looking at these things, whether this is a falling wedge or whether this is a falling trading channel, they will work out kind of similarly, guys. When you look at the opening of this, more than likely when Dogecoin explosion does happen and we start to move up and we break through this resistance, watch out for prices to come back up here towards 11 cents. And then it could just keep getting ridiculous, especially if anything official gets announced. My suspicion at this point, by the way, thank you, Crypto Military Vet, who welcome to Silver. He has a yellow badge, so he must have had a gifted membership and he just re-signed up. Thank you so much for that. My guess right now is that X is not ready to officially have a currency like Dogecoin operating. So what Elon's doing is just teasing. He's making some moves, and then when everything in the infrastructure is put together, we'll get an official announcement. I would be very surprised if Dogecoin isn't if not one of the currencies used for X.com, and that will be a big payday for Dogecoin. I'm going to stop talking about Dogecoin for right now, though, because that's a conversation we're going to have here in just a couple of minutes. But with that said, it's 9:26, guys. There's a lot of TA out there. A lot of TA. You can go back to Brocam here now, T-Shroom. I would love to do every single coin every single day, but the show time does not allow it because we have a lot of other things we got to do. But if you are in our Discord, or if you are one of our members and you get to come into our bro times, you guys can always tag me in Discord asking for some TA, and I will do it as soon as I can. Or you can join our bro times where literally we get to hang out, have fun. Yesterday we talked about warm weather jackets versus cold weather jackets, but we also dove into some really good TA alpha. Make sure if you guys want to learn more, you get into our Discord, you get into our membership, because that's the whole purpose. It's not just to have you guys interact with us more and have fun. It's like, hey, we want to have fun with you. We want to get to know you better, and we want to help you guys on your journey as you're trading and investing and changing your life. So I'm so sorry, guys, that I can't cover any more TA today for those coins, but I do it a lot more over there in Discord and Bro Time. So T-Shroom, let's get into our community. We do have a couple of announcements for the people. What are those announcements?
Well, the big one is the Saturday show. If you want coins or stocks covered on the TA, Saturday is the place to be. I mean, we are going to do our own programming where we talk about some of the stuff we think is important, but Saturday's show is definitely a time where we carve out a little bit of space for the bros to shout out what they want to see on the charts. We've also got an announcement that I will not be here starting tomorrow morning through Saturday. So it's going to be a Tim takeover. Piper's going to be sprinkled in there, I believe, Friday. He's going to be coming on. So it's going to be a very fireworks Friday for you all as Piper's coming back. But what do you got, Tim?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's going to be exciting. So I'm tomorrow. You guys want to have some fun. I'm going to be running the show by myself. Usually they don't let the kids play when mom and dad aren't home. But listen, T-Shroom ain't here. Piper ain't here. Tim's going to do it by himself. You don't want to miss that. And Saturday show, I'll be running it by myself too. I'm very excited to have Piper back on with me on Friday. Listen, if you guys are anticipating and are excited about a Tim-only show, you can only imagine what's happening internally in my brain. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun, and you don't want to miss it either Thursday or Saturday. The other thing I would announce tonight, 5:45, our new time for the bro time over on X. Our X Spaces is happening. Make sure you guys come in there as well. Even though there's not a visual component there, great conversation is always had. And the purpose we really want to use those for is exactly so that you guys can come in and ask questions. Now, it might be hard for me to answer too many technical analysis questions, but I can do my best. I also want to hear your guys' opinions, because you guys get to hear me and T-Shroom and Piper talk all the time. But we want to hear what you guys think of the market, and we get to break that all down together. So make sure you put it on your calendar. Tonight, 5:45 Eastern Standard Time, we will have the Bros Twitter Spaces. With that said, let's see. We got a couple comments here. Alex O. Crypto, good to see you here. It said, Tim be smashing the Stream Labs. That's exactly what's going to be happening. MLFL says, no nonsense, Tim. Listen, here's the thing, MLFL. The nonsense, I try to stay away from nonsense. Nonsense follows me wherever I go, but I do the best I can to keep it to a minimum. And the technical issues, that's bedridden. Here we go. The technical issues we are going to have, that's going to be the entertaining point. It's not going to be purposeful nonsense. I promise you, I'm going to try to stay on point. You guys know I have a lot to say. That doesn't mean that the technology wants to stay with me, though. So could be very interesting. Last one here, and then we're going to jump into our conversation. Crypto Trade says the Viking testosterone is going to go through the roof.
Love it.
What do you guys think? What would you
like
guys think if I just whipped my head around and there was like a Viking like braid?
Oh my gosh!
And it flipped over my shoulder, and it's not there. So you guys, doesn't exist.
If you had that, I would be pining for the fjords even more than I already do. But let's go ahead and check out the factoid, Tim, because I know that you're chomping at the bits. Guys, I will try not to make these as hard in the future, but I'm trying to settle into this new process. Which cryptographic algorithm does Bitcoin employ to create addresses and ensure the security of funds? that Bitcoin address that you have all that Bitcoin in is made by the elliptical curve digital signature algorithm, otherwise
I
known
ha-
as the ECDSA. What do you think about that, Tim?
I
Unfair?
would
Too hard?
I would never have guessed that. To be fair, I'd never even heard that.
For sure. This was definitely ultra
So
hard mode, guys. If you're not a
yeah,
developer, you probably don't know or even have a chance at that one. You may have guessed SHA-256, but SHA-256 is a secure hashing algorithm, or commonly referred to as the unkeying cryptographic hashing function that takes an input of variable length and produces 256 bit long hash output. So a little bit of education that you probably didn't need to know, but
yeah.
you should know, question mark.
I don't
And
know,
that's
man.
going to lead us.
That's intense. That goes deep, man.
It does. It does.
That goes very deep. All right, well, let's do this. Let's get into our conversation. Let's start off. We've been referencing it all show. It's in the thumbnail. It's in the title. Dogecoin to the moon via Elon Musk and X. What are the details of this t-shirt? What's happening this morning?
Absolutely. Well, you read the headline, which is interesting. So here we go. I mean, this is it. I don't even know if I need to read it again because I don't. But let me throw it to you first. Well, actually, let me answer this question first. What do I think about what's going on here with Elon Musk saying that Doge is a friendly place, or Twitter is a friendly place for Doge? It's interesting that I don't know if Watcher.guru did this edit or if Elon, I doubt, put the word Twitter in there, but I think it's going to happen, man. I really do. I think that he's been very he's played it really well. He hasn't come out and said it's gonna happen. Like Doge is gonna underpin, the validator for identities on Twitter. But I think it will. That's kind of my hunch here. He, especially with this tweet, it kind of solidifies that if there was any doubt that it was going to happen, he put that aside with this tweet. So, what do you think, Tim?
Yeah, I mean, here's what I will be fair. It is probably an overreaction to this tweet to say, oh, this is confirmation. Like, this is a done deal. We are going to see Dogecoin be the official currency of X. But that's not how Elon moves. Like, the reason why this is so captivating and so interesting is because Elon will never come out and just say things directly. He will tease things and he'll do Easter eggs. And we all know that, if you followed Elon's relationship with Doge, his love of it is, first of all, he loves dogs. He also loves memes. This is a dog meme. But then he discusses in more serious tones how ironic and cool would it be if the currency that was created as a joke became the predominant currency. And this is a man who has so much power, he could actually get the job done. So while we are not hearing any confirmation from Elon Musk with him saying, guys, I have a big announcement. Dogecoin is the official currency of Twitter, X. He's doing the Elon thing of throwing out these Easter eggs. And let's be fair, he's also very intelligent. He does not say things not knowing what the consequences will be. He knows that when he says the word Dogecoin, big things happen in that community. So to me, this is not an official confirmation, but it's just one more Easter egg he is laying for us that he has big plans for Dogecoin, that Dogecoin and X are going to have a very good relationship. And that poll, guys, we're sitting here this morning. We asked you guys, should we have Doge in our portfolio? Should we all hold Doge in our portfolio? 58% saying yes, 42% saying no. I'm going to be honest with you guys. You asked me this question a year ago. I'm in the no category. I still think it was a joke. It's just a meme coin. There's so many other coins doing more serious things. But I have slipped into the yes column. And to be fair, I don't own any Doge right now. This is another one I need to be picking up on some of these dips. And it's scaring me when he does things like this. And the good news is it hasn't exploded yet, but I don't want to miss out. I don't want to buy it up at like 50 cents because I do think there's a good chance Doge makes it to $1, especially if it officially becomes the currency of X. But it's one I'm definitely going to be adding to my portfolio. That's not financial advice. You guys continue to think for yourself. Do whatever you want to do. I have shifted from a no to a yes here in the last year, though. Like it, love it, think it's a joke or not, Dogecoin more than likely is here to stay, and Elon is kind of giving us the Easter eggs to that.
Dustin Singer said Dogecoin was actually my first crypto I bought before the hype blew it up. So
wow,
sounds like you got
I have owned Dogecoin once in my life. There was about 2 years ago. I think me and Smay had some bet I don't remember what happened. I don't remember the bet. I just remember I lost. And the
Mm.
deal was I had to buy Dogecoin. And the deal was I had to buy 20. This is what was so bad. And this is why I hate eToro, by the way. Tangent story here, guys, but we're having fun. I had to buy $20 of Dogecoin was the bet. Well, eToro doesn't let you just buy $20 of Dogecoin. You have to invest $50. So I literally had to spend $50 to buy it. But then the fees on eToro was so ridiculous. I spent $50 and ended up only getting like, I can't remember, like $42 or something when it all said and done. It was absolutely ridiculous. Made me hate every minute of it. I held it for one day and then I sold it at loss. And it might have been a mistake. I should have held. Although that was like up at like 60 cents or something. So I would be a major loss now. I'd be down to like a couple of pennies. But the levels we're looking at right now, great levels to be getting into Dogecoin. So
Yes.
that is what it is.
All right. Well, now it's time to play Find the Headline from our favorite publication, You Today. Where's the headline? Is it up above the graphic of the main topic? No, it's a quote from somebody. Is it over here behind this advertisement? Oh, there's the headline. CZ of Binance alleged to be pushing Bitcoin price down. Here's how. So let's dive in here, guys. The tweet pretty much says it all. Binance and BNB are currently the first and third, respectively, fastest rising topics in crypto. Major allegations point to CZ Binance continuing to actively sell off their share of Bitcoin to support their own native token and keep it propped up above key support levels. This coming from Santiment, which is a pretty respected analyst in the space. It's actually an analyst platform, so they do a lot of on-chain kind of analysis, and they publish that. And it looks like there's a decent amount of detail here from the AI summary. But let's go ahead and throw it over to you, Tim. Have you seen enough on this story to be convinced that is actually true, that CZ is selling Bitcoin to prop up BNB? Or do you feel like you need to see more before you're going to start making any moves based on this information?
Well, the only problem with the statement you just made, T-Shroom, is you asked if I need to see more. Well, in the English language, when you use that phrase, do you need to see more? What you would be implying is that we've seen anything to begin with. I have seen no evidence presented by anyone, just suspicious price movements and people saying, I've been saying this for a year now. And it's like, okay, just because you say it doesn't make it true. We've seen accusation after accusation after accusation come out against CZ and Binance, and it's been thwarted every single time. So, T-Shirt, my answer is I don't need to see more. I need to see something. I need to see some sort of evidence. Do we have his wallet information that shows him selling Bitcoin in bulk? I see article after article with these suspicions based off of other analytics, but they never actually present a wallet. They never actually present the exact numbers. They'll say things like, oh, his Bitcoin wallet might be coming to an end now, and he might not be able to do it anymore. What wallet? What amount? How much has he sold? Just give me something that would be evidence of this accusation. To me, this is simply a smear campaign because Binance was a part of what took down FTX, and FTX had a lot of powerful friends, and there's a whole smear campaign going on to try to get rid of them. By the way, FTX had hands in hands in a lot of different pockets. Hands that have now shifted into other things. This is I want people to know I'm asking for evidence. So don't take what I'm about to say as evidence. I'm just asking the question. I still like Brian Armstrong and Coinbase, but they've made friends with a lot of interesting people recently. Who is Coinbase's number one competition right now? Like Coinbase, probably the easiest on-off ramp right now in crypto. Who are they competing with? Binance. Is it possible? Is it possible that the new friends of Coinbase are asking Coinbase to even be a part of this? They're saying, hey, if you help us out, we can really take down Binance. You can become the big dog. You'll stuff the pockets of BlackRock. You'll stuff the pockets of all these other big investors. You can be the number one be it all. But they need to continue to spread this FUD narrative. And that's what I'm saying here is I have not seen anything. We've heard CZ. Now he could be lying to us. I don't know CZ. I don't know. I know he's 5'5". Looked that up the other day. Not a very tall man, but clearly very intelligent. He has told us he does not care about the price of BNB. And to me, I told you guys on the charts the other day, if you go to my screen here real quick, T-Shroom, we're not even towards the bottom. We bottomed out BNB back in June of 2022, all the way down at 183. There's all this evidence saying, oh, if they lose 200, game over. Well, they already lost 200 at one point, and it wasn't game over. But to me, I'm sitting here even saying, even if we dropped all the way to 150, the peak that we had back here during February of 2021, during that bull market, I think you could fall back to that former resistance level and still be completely fine. What CZ has told us with his mouth is he doesn't care about the price of BNB. He makes so much money from just having an exchange, the number one exchange in the world where people can buy and sell cryptocurrency. To me, it's not lining up. It's possible. I'm not going to say it's impossible, but I need to see evidence, T-Shirt. We can go back to Brocam now. I'm very, very skeptical of all this negativity, especially since it's like they just can't decide what the real narrative for the negativity is going to be. 1 minute he's breaking laws. 1 minute he's stealing people's money. 1 minute he's manipulating Bitcoin. 1 minute it's just like, man, it seems like the fudsters are just throwing spaghetti noodles at the wall and seeing if one can stick to see if it's cooked or not. And so far, none of it's worked. So that's my take, T-Shirt. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, like for as many times as people said, Bitcoin is going to fail and Bitcoin's going to go to zero, people have bet against Binance, and I agree with you, Tim, is that in addition to that, there really hasn't been enough evidence that Binance is selling. But show me a wallet, it's not hard to do to show me a wallet that's selling to the tune that would actually send Bitcoin's price down as much as it's gone down. So I think that's pretty much where I land on it. Yeah. So
yeah. Eric Wallen says he's been saying this for 2 days now. What specifically? He says it's just speculation because BNB is on the edge of a cliff. Okay. Yeah, that's okay, Eric. Yeah, good for you. I mean, I noticed it. I didn't think it was big enough to go crazy in depth, but this morning I definitely thought it was bigger. And there's just so much coming out late last night and this morning, and people are actually freaking out. By the way, this is another thing I want you guys to keep your eyes on. We've talked about this before. This is part of Wyckoff theory. Have you guys noticed, any of you that do your own crypto research, which you really should be doing and continue to look at new articles? Did you guys notice? Actually, here, let me show you. Let me show you what I'm looking at here. Let's go T-Shroom over here to Bitcoin. I'm going to show you. If you guys don't use this isn't necessarily the number one research way to find news articles, but it is one way. Go to chart settings, go to events in TradingView, hit latest news and mines. It pops up this little purple lightning strike. You can come over here, you get more news, and you can just start scrolling. And what I noticed when I was looking at this morning, there's a lot of negative opinion articles right now. There's a couple positive, but overwhelmingly negative articles. Not facts, no details, no evidence, just, oh, if Bitcoin does this, it could be in trouble. Oh, the whales are losing out. Oh, nearly 90% of Bitcoin short-term holders are underwater. Oh, it's just all of this stuff, all of this bearish negativity. Let's go back to Brocam. Those of you who have been listening for a while, what does it mean when you get a lot of negative opinion pieces in the news? More often than not, that's a manipulation tactic that price is actually about to bounce. Not meaning it's going to happen today or tomorrow. Again, I think there's a good chance we actually end up falling one more time to 25.2. But remember I said we're going to get that spike up to 28.6. And let's just think through this logically, everybody. Right now, a lot of people reading the news right now feeling bearish. They're worried about Binance. They're worried about Bitcoin. They're worried about the holders. They're worried about this. They're worried about that. Wouldn't it make sense to have the price bounce up, start skyrocketing? I mean, if we touch 25.2 again and then jump to 28.6, guys, I'm not the best at math, but that's pretty easy. That's over $3,000 move. You don't think that paired with the articles that will come out, be like, Bitcoin on the move again. Here we go. Bull market back on. That the retail investor will get emotionally back into it. And this will be the perfect manipulation for them to print all these FOMO articles, sell that 28.6, drop the price down to 20,000, breaking the heart and soul of every retail investor that doesn't really know what they're doing. And then they print even more stories of, oh, bear market not over. New lows coming. 11,000 back in play. Research analysts suggest that Bitcoin is going to zero. And then the real bull market starts. That's what Wyckoff taught over about 100 years ago when he created his theory. About 100 years ago is when Wyckoff began to teach people this is how markets move. This is how the news operates. This is how manipulation plays a part in finance. And it's just as true today as it was back then. So you're telling me with all this stuff, I think that this FUD news about Binance, T-Shroom, to me, is not evidence that Binance is in trouble. It's evidence of heavy manipulation. And I did see in here, Alex Green says, I don't believe Uncle Brian is trying to ruin anyone. He's referring to Coinbase, what I said earlier. He wants to stay in his lane, keep moving the space forward. Everything he does is for him. He's a leader, not a destroyer. Alex, I will agree with you and disagree with you. I will agree with you that I actually don't think Brian Armstrong is a bad player. I like Brian Armstrong. But let's be real. Coinbase was on the brink last year. Do you guys remember all the struggles Coinbase was having? And then out of nowhere, he got a brand new investor, a brand new partner by the name of Larry Fink, CEO of BlackRock. Do we think Brian calls all the shots for Coinbase? Probably not. Brian might be a great guy. Brian might have grand vision. Brian might be staying in his lane. That does not mean that Coinbase is. That does not mean the people that are propping up and supporting and building Coinbase have what's in everyone else's best interest in mind. That does not mean that they're not working every single day to become the number one crypto exchange in the world, and they're going to use methods of not only supporting and uplifting themselves, but trying to knock down the people that are at their level, above their level, and coming up on their level. That's how manipulation works. That's how control works. And literally, he has partnered with the king of control, Larry Fink himself. Just going to put that out there. You guys do with that information whatever you will. But that's my thought here, guys. Binance, FUD. It's FUD. I don't see any evidence. And until I do, I'm going to continue to operate like this is just fake news. Let us know in chat what you guys think. T-Shroom. It is 9:47, and we were talking about last night. So you guys know that we made a transition here. We're doing mostly crypto, but we will talk stock markets when things are big and moving and happening, and there is some stuff happening. So T-Shroom, it's not our stock market open because we've been open now for 17 minutes.
That's
but
right.
What are you seeing in the stock world that has you excited, scared, confused? What are you seeing right now?
Well, I would say I'm just kind of observing that this is a big headline here. NVIDIA earnings are high stakes event for AI crazed markets. Commentary on AI will set tone for the broader stock market, and that is very true. And the broader stock market is going to set the tone for risk assets in general, including crypto. So let's take a look at what's going on. Well, NVIDIA really hasn't moved too much on the day. You can see, I'll go out to a daily chart. It's kind of stayed flat for the most part, right? Yesterday, the last 2 days have been pretty volatile. Had a big buy up and then a shed, and now it's kind of somewhere in the middle. But the earnings for NVIDIA, I believe, come out today at the end of the New York session, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is going to be a pretty big deal for the markets. Here on the daily chart, you can see that it is not only has the green trend assist, which just started, but also had a buy rating there on the 21st. But it's not just NVIDIA. This optimism has spread over to the NASDAQ itself. As you can see, this is on the 4-hour now, not the daily chart, but on the 4-hour, you can see that there was a buy rating back here. Where do these buy ratings come from? They come from our sponsor, Chart Prime. Chart Prime is a very highly sophisticated mathematical indicator. It's looking at momentum, it's looking at price action based on history, and it's printing out these little buy and sell ratings, right? Doesn't mean you buy and sell it when it says to, but it's an opinion, right? It's not an opinion, actually. It's based on a mathematical model. Okay, so it got a buy rating back here on the 21st. Go check out the link for discounts in our description for Chart Prime, and then it also has printed much more recently here on the 22nd, yesterday, a green trend assistant. So that is confluence that a lot of people have in their trading models to go ahead and buy. What does that mean? That means that the markets are looking bullish, guys. What happens in markets, right? Let me go out to the weekly. Well, there's run-ups and then there's corrections. There's pullbacks, right? So the NASDAQ, I'm just going to stay on the NASDAQ for right now. The NASDAQ has had a very nice run here from these bottoms that were kind of put in back here in October, the 12th of October, right? So you can kind of see, wow, there's been a 49% run-up since then, and that is pretty good. That's really, really good, right? And that was from last year, so a 49% move is pretty big, right? Now, of course, there's going to be pullbacks, and there were pullbacks all through here. But as you can see on the daily chart, there were only really pullbacks, kind of back to the midline of the Bollinger Band more recently. Whereas now we've gone sliced through that midline of the Bollinger Band to put in some new lows, right? So putting in some new lows compared to back here on the 25th of July. So what does that mean? It just means that the market needed to cool off. It needed to test back. Now, could it keep going lower? Absolutely. We have Jackson Hole this Friday, right? If the Fed comes out and signals anything other than, dovish, and we might not have these rates for as long as we thought, these high rates for as long, then you could see a move to the upside, right? But if they come out anything other than that, then you could see a continuation of this correction and a test lower, probably for this specific asset back down to 14,200, right? And that would be not great, but that's the markets we were handed here. Taking a look at the S&P over here, I've got prepped on the 4-hour again. You have not seen a flip to a green trend assistant quite yet, but you did get a reversal pattern print here from, again, Chart Prime. And you also are seeing a bit on the 4-hour, again, a bit of a bullish cross here in a green histogram print on the MACD. So all of that to say, you are starting to see a bit of bullishness in the broader equity markets, right? Just because there's a pullback doesn't mean that the markets are going significantly lower. Doesn't mean that they're going to go test multi-year support levels down, like for the S&P, down to like 3,000, right? It could, right? If there continues to be fundamental news that would pull it down there, but based on the charts, there's plenty of support before it goes down. So there is still a very strong case for just going ahead and buying this dip. And that's what a lot of traders are especially going to do if NVIDIA can beat earnings today, as NVIDIA is the trend leader. So that's about all I have to say in stocks. I mean, ultimately, it's could be a big bullish moment.
It's very interesting to keep our eyes on, because remember when Caleb Franzen was on T-Shroom, he talked about he's like, one of the healthiest things that could happen to the stock market, he was talking about NASDAQ specifically, was he said like a 10% pullback is not unheard of or crazy or unhealthy. It needed a good 10% pullback. We haven't gone back 10%, but if you go to my chart here, or go to my screen, we pulled back 8.56% on NASDAQ. That's not the full 10. 10 would have brought us all the way down here towards, what was it? About 14,300 or so, 14,322. We didn't get quite that far, but notice we did a couple things here. On Fibonacci, we pulled back to the 0.236 level and found significant support here. By the way, 132 people watching right now. Thank you to everyone who is in here. Please go ahead and smash that like button. And if you're new, hit subscribe. We've already discussed the Dogecoin. We discussed Binance. So if you want to scroll back and listen to that, if that's what you're here for, we broke that down very nicely. We're discussing the stocks right now. Going back to Fibonacci, we'll do some more, TA alpha for you guys. We've said this before. When you're looking at Fibonacci levels, the 50%, obviously, 0.5 is a kind of divider line. It's still bullish. When you rally up and pull back to 0.236, that is still massively bullish. When you pull back to 0.382, 38%, that's still bullish. That's good bullish. 50% is a little bit of like, all right, this decision zone. There's nothing saying here the bulls have to be done, but that is a significant pullback to pull back 50%. When you start hitting golden pocket, and especially platinum pocket, down here to 61%, 78%, that's when you start to say, all right, we might bounce at these levels, but more than likely the bears have taken back control if we're shifting from an upper position. But seeing a significant bounce here at 0.236, I'm not saying we have to shoot back up here. There's a lot that could still happen, but a bounce at that level is important and does show the signs, guys. The NASDAQ bulls are not necessarily, they have not given up. They are not at loss. There's been no parabolic candle. There's been no massive movement to the downside saying that the bulls have lost and this is a disaster zone. Now, I do think things are going to be interesting as we continue to watch China and what's happening over there. There's an argument that can be made that would hurt the American economy. There's an argument that can be made that would help the American economy and NASDAQ. Maybe people take their money out of China and go move it into the United States. There's a lot of scenarios that could happen. The point is that you should not freak out until we start to see more significant levels to the downside. To me, even though I told you 0.5 is the level, I would say as long as NASDAQ stays above 13,900, above this 38.2% level, there's still a lot of good signs. If we lose this level, if we lose 13,900, even though we haven't quite made it to 50%, that's when I think that there start to be some real concern of like, okay, this could be a sign on the NASDAQ that things could be moving to the downside. And by the way, guys, If that's happening, crypto and Bitcoin are probably already down significant levels. I think there's a chance that you see Bitcoin to 20,000 come in around the same time that NASDAQ hits all the way down to 0.382, even though that's only what percentage of a dip would that be from the high it just got? That's only a 12% dip for old NASDAQ, but 12% to the NASDAQ is major. People do not like losing 12% of their NASDAQ holdings. That would correspond with a bigger fall for Bitcoin, I do believe. So keep your eyes on all of this. Again, there's a lot of signs that I do believe that the economy could be in trouble, but there's also evidence to say, especially as we're in our pre-election year, historically, if there are problems with the economy, we find a way to kick that can down the road and deal with that later on. 4-year cycle for Bitcoin and crypto is that we probably have a little bit more of a dip in us, but not brand new bottoms for Bitcoin. And the real bull market will start here later on, more than likely, probably early next year. These are the signs we're still seeing, and we're not seeing any overwhelming evidence that would suggest that that's going to change. So don't be running for hills. Don't be freaking out. Keep your head on a swivel. Keep your head in the news. Keep your head on the charts and trade things as they come. Don't try to emotionally sway yourself one way or the other.
Absolutely. And of course, we're not going to go as granular as to speculate on what the earnings for NVIDIA are going to be, but that, there's plenty of commentary out there on what those could be. But, I know that there's been a downtick in gaming purchases for the microprocessor, and then there's also but there's been an uptick in AI GPUs and microchips. So we'll see. That NVIDIA print, the earnings is going to be big, and it's coming post-market. So definitely keeping my eyes on that before I head off to my military training. Guys, it's been a real pleasure to bring you guys the news and see you in the chat this week. I probably won't have too much interaction with you all outside of what we're doing later this evening, but it'll be a pleasure to see you back on Monday.
Yeah, very, very much so. Let's see. Let's read some chat here as we're closing out the show, because I do think that is the end of our planned content, but we always get to talk with you guys, which is fun. SAS Finance says this is a great time to DCA weekly and stake, accumulating positions prior to having and prior to the Fed lowering interest rates. Great. Yeah, that's very true, SAS Finance. And that's going to be another interesting one, by the way, guys. I saw a couple other people comment on this. Historically, the real problems in stock markets come not they do happen because interest rates are high, but when they pivot and they start cutting rates, that's actually in the stock market, we see a price fall usually on that one. I'm interested to see what happens with crypto because we've never seen it with crypto. We've never had an example to watch Bitcoin respond to a rate cut, a significant rate cuts. Some people believe it's going to follow the stock market and fall. I have a personal belief that potentially that could be part of the catalyst into what accelerates Bitcoin. People finally using that to move money and wealth from the US dollars into Bitcoin and crypto. So we'll have to continue. That'll be exciting. More than likely at this point, we're talking about May or June being the first rate cut. It'll be interesting to see how Bitcoin responds to that. Susan Strum says, Tim, now you've flung a hankering for spaghetti. Yeah, sorry. I'm sorry, guys. That was throwing back to the Binance FUD, people throwing spaghetti up against the wall. Who, real quick, as we close it out, that we'll kind of close with that question. It's 9:59. Who here, put a 1 in chat if you have ever tested your spaghetti noodles being ready or not by throwing them against the wall. I personally have not, but I've watched my mom do it. So that's, I know it's like, I know other people do it, but I honestly have never seen anyone do it except for my mom. I just know that it is a thing. T-Shirt, have you ever thrown spaghetti against the wall? See if it sticks?
No, I just test its consistency. And we made pasta last night. I just test the consistency, and I just put a little piece in my mouth and test it.
Yeah,
like that.
see, and the other thing for me, CBD Study says yes, he has done that. Okay, so I don't cook a lot of spaghetti. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not necessarily the biggest spaghetti fan in the world. I love, and I try not to eat it that much. I love macaroni and cheese, especially the shells with the white cheddar.
Ooh,
so good. It's
speak
so
my
good.
language.
But I like the noodle. I don't want to like hear a crunch when I bite it, but I like the firmer noodle. Like, so I don't want to cook it. Like Taylor loves like the soft, like almost melts in your mouth. Like she like boils it to a place where like the noodle starts disintegrating almost. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I like the firmer noodle.
Oh, we don't have very much time.
Don't clip that part.
let us know in the comments what you guys want the topic for tonight's Twitter Spaces to be. Doesn't mean we're going to do that, but we would like your input for sure.
Yeah. Well, we're getting some ones in chat, so it looks like, my mom wasn't alone. A lot of people are using that for their spaghetti, but very interesting. Yeah, Matt C., who is the expert because he's Italian, says, no need, just taste it. I agree, Matt C. I agree. Guys, that's all we have for you in today's show. Great show, very fun show. Make sure you, on your way out, you smash the like button. I think we're at 89 likes. We got to get more likes. I think there's at least 11 of you that have not smashed the like button. Get us to 100 as we're closing out the live show. We'll be back tonight for the X Spaces. Come join us, 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then I will be back tomorrow, a one-man show. Don't miss it. It will be amazing. With that said, though, we'll see you tonight. You guys have a great day.
Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots, stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor of the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shrooms news, got the word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots, stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.